Now, boys, you may all go today and try to climb that mountain. Start right after breakfast. Go as far as you can. Then, when you are tired, come back. But each of you must bring me a twig from the place where you turned. Away they all went, full of hope, each feeling that he surely could reach the top. Soon the first boy came slowly back, puffing and sweating. He stood before the chief, and in his hand he held a piece of cactus. The chief smiled and said, "My boy, you barely got started. You did not reach the mountain. You did not even cross the desert. I like to think this boy is like a new inducted Cub Scout. He has just barely started." An hour later, the second boy returned. He carried a twig of sagebrush. "Well," said the chief, "you reached the foot of the mountain, but you did not start the climb. This boy is like the Cub Scout who has earned his Bobcat badge. He has progressed on his journey, but has not really started to climb." After another hour, the third boy came back. He held out a cottonwood sprig. "Good," said the chief. "You got as far as the springs. This might represent the Cub Scout who has reached the first level of his climb and received his wolf badge." A while later, another boy came back with some cedar. The chief smiled when he saw it and spoke. "Well done, my boy. You went halfway up. This is like the Cub Scout who has progressed halfway up the achievement trail and earned his bear badge." Later in the afternoon, the next boy returned carrying a branch of pine. To him, the chief said, "Good. You went to the third level. You made it 3/4 of the climb. Keep on trying. Next year you will undoubtedly reach the top." The Cub Scout who earned his Webelos badge has reached the 3/4 mark and is in sight of the top. The sun was low when the last boy returned. He was a tall, splendid boy of noble character. He approached the chief and held up his hand. It was empty. But he was radiant as he spoke. "My father, there were no trees where I went. I saw no twigs, no living thing upon the peak. But far and away I saw other mountain peaks, and beyond them the shining sea." Now the old chief's face glowed as he said, "I knew it. I knew it when I looked upon your face. You have reached the top. It is written in your eyes, and it rings in your voice. My boy, you need no twigs for tokens. You have seen the glory of the mountain. The brave who reach the top is like the Cub Scout who has reached the top, the Arrow of Light Award. But beyond the top are the peaks of the Boy Scouting program that must be met and climbed to reach the shining sea of adulthood." At this time, will the following parents please come forward? Colby Mack, Jay Finklin, Carmen Cervantes, Debbie Bossy, Matt Smith, Debbie Bossy, Jose Figueroa, Paul Rowe, and Chris Gray. Would you guys kindly present your boys with your arrow of lights that you have presented them? Ladies and gentlemen, the parents of our Webelo 2 Scouts have made what we call the Arrow of Light Award for their boys. This award that they have handmade represents their Cub Scout progression. Each color, each band represents a period of time within their Cub Scouts growth. For those of us who have stood here before, we know how enjoyable it is to make these arrows. Boys, your parents put in quite a few hours slowly winding each thread onto those arrows. You should cherish those. As Mr. Ragsdale said, his son still has his hanging in his room. So it's going to go with you for quite a long time. Let everybody get their pictures? Okay, if you'll put your arrows back on the table, and parents, please stay, everybody stay up there. At this time, myself and Keith are going to pass out the arrow patch and the arrow pin. The arrow patch is the only Cub Scout award that can be worn on the Boy Scout uniform. The Cub Scout pin will go to the parents, just like all of the rank pins that we have passed out. So the parents can proudly wear these pins as well. Thank you so much. When you guys are finished, you may be seated.